So we're going to finish with a little bit of levity, right?
So I've never done this, so I have to read it a bit. Can you hear me? Okay. So, how I met my husband. Climbing onto the bus, I look around and I realize I'm the only woman. Suzanne and I have been planning this trip for months to Chile. We're going to kayak the Bio River before they install the big dam. Then we're going to hike in Torres del Paine. And then we're going to go see the penguins in the Straits of Magellan. But now, Suzanne has flown back to the United States for emergency surgery, and I'm on this bus with 40 young seminary students. And we're debating scripture. So much for that holiday tryst. Dating in the Peace Corps is tough. Most of the men that are single are either under the age of 16 or over the age of 40 and are widowers. None of them have teeth. It's not their fault. There's not a dentist in Jagros, Paraguay, where we live. But I like my men with teeth.
How I met my wife. I'm taking a sabbatical. But can you take a sabbatical at 27 years old? Soy un mochilero. Backpacking around the world. I was going to travel for a year, but maybe it's 2. I'm free, independent, loving life, loving the adventure. But I like my plan. Buy a one-way ticket to Chile, travel south to Tierra del Fuego, and slowly work my way back to Chicago, where I'm from. But by land, I still haven't quite figured out how to cross the Darien Gap in Panama. But that's for another day. But first to Tierra del Fuego. So how to pass the Patagonian ice field? A 4-day cruise on a cargo ship that also takes passengers, of course. So I'm in a 4-person cabin with 2 bunk beds instead of the 40-person dorm next to the engine room in the hull of the ship. This was an easy splurge, even for a traveler. It was an extra $50. So I get to my cabin and I see that I'll be sharing the room with 3 women. 2 Germans and the blonde American I saw on the dock. Well, this is my lucky day.
Donkey Man? Wow, the cabin door between El Capitan and El Ingeniero says Donkey Man. This Chilean crew has some really funky titles. We've been exploring the ship from top to bottom. The American in my room is really up for everything. He's a lot of fun, really chatty, and a lot of energy. He's kind of cute, except for those sideburns. The ship is pitching violently in the Golfo de Peñas, the Sea of Sorrows. We may be the only 2 people on the ship besides the crew who are not seasick. I'm so glad I paid that extra money for the small cabin. The hull of the ship smells just horrendous.
So I highly recommend Chilean wine. You could buy a good 1-liter box for like $1. So I brought 4 boxes with me on this boat trip. A smart decision is I'm liking my American cabin mate, and she likes wine with her salmon. This is our nightly meal. She's going to hike in Torres del Paine alone, but she doesn't have a tent. Now I have a tent. Women love a man with a tent. But why didn't she respond to my irresistible offer last night? I offered her space in my tent, and I also asked for a smooch.
Okay, so he has wine and he has space in the tent. And he has all his teeth. I do like teeth. What's the worst? What's the worst thing about a smooch? Smooch? Who even says that? I don't really want a boyfriend, but how about a little bit of fun? Okay, so I'm sharing the tent. Taurus is beautiful, it's rugged, and it's wickedly windy. We spend the first night in the moon shadow under the giant granite towers at Torres del Paine. Hiking 10 hours a day with non-stop chatting, you really get to know some person. We discuss all the important essential topics. Families, hatch green chili, feminism, pre-Columbian American art, lasagna, books, the penguins, and how neither of us ever want to get married.
So Jill is gone, at home in Paraguay. So I'm back in Torres del Paine hiking the full circuit with this a new Israeli friend. And I think of her, and I smile, and I tell this new friend, I think I just met the girl of my dreams, but I'm not actually looking for the girl of my dreams. Why? What happened? How do you know? He asked. Well, she's wicked smart, funny, she's beautiful, kind, tough, adventurous, and she makes a really mean lasagna. So I told Jill I was traveling through Paraguay after working my way north through Argentina. I was not planning on going to Paraguay. Nobody goes to Paraguay. She wrote directions. She drew me this cute map of her to get to her small village that I still have today. And 3 months later, I'm on a bus to Paraguay, thinking, I sure hope she got that telegram I sent her from Buenos Aires.
The bus driver stops in front of the telegram office in Jegros, and I get off. Señorita Jill, I telegrama. Telegram? For me? Si. El David, he's coming tomorrow. Tomorrow? Holy cow, I've been in the fields working for 2 weeks. I have lice, I have scabies. I could not delouse a house in a day. What the heck? I haven't seen this guy in 3 months. Why is he coming? He's not supposed to come. No one comes to Paraguay. I run home and wash and iron everything I own twice. Then I scrub myself raw with sulfur soap, and I really hope I got all the critters. I fall into bed exhausted and very anxious.
So I'm at a hostel in Asuncion, the capital of Paraguay. My Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan, are crushing the Seattle Supersonics in the NBA Finals on ESPN Olé in Portuguese. I don't think Jill wants to be in a relationship. She's too fiercely independent. Truth be told, I've received much warmer welcomes. What was I doing there? She was working, doing her Peace Corps thing, and I was making juice and washing clothes on the washboard. I like the washboard comment. Then she kicked me out, and I left. It just wasn't working. I'm going to go to Bolivia tomorrow. I've got my ticket. I should have never come to Paraguay. David, tienes una llamada, cries the desk clerk. A phone call? Who'd be calling me here? So I go to the phone, and I hear Jill's sweet voice. I miss you. Please come home. Home? My heart swells. So I'm on the phone. I thought you didn't like me. I'll change my bus ticket from Bolivia in exchange for a ticket to Jegros. I'll be there tomorrow. Oh, what was that? Pick up some food and beer from the American store? Sure, no problem.
David left last night for Bolivia. He was here for a few months, on and off. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't easy. But I warmed up to him. He grew on me. I just found the sweet note he left me in my powdered milk. He loves me. And then I found another note next to the juice squeezer, and another note next to the washboard. My Peace Corps assignment is ending soon, and we've agreed that we'll meet up in Bolivia at the Hotel Torino in La Paz.
I'm smiling. I just called Jill from the telephone office in Uyuni after visiting the salt flats in Bolivia. I'll see her soon in La Paz. It was a crazy journey through the forsaken Paraguayan Chaco to get to Bolivia. I spent a week at a Mennonite dairy cooperative and another in a remote military outpost waiting for the bus axle to be replaced. Those are stories for another day.
I've been traveling in Bolivia for a few weeks now with Denise and Clay Pack. There is no sign of David. We're in La Paz. I've left several messages on the board at El Torino Hotel. He hasn't picked up one of them. Where is he? There's not a single note from him. Pendejo. I asked Clay to leave one last note. taking the early train to Lake Titicaca. If you're interested, we'll be at the Mongo Bar tonight. Clay's English comprehension is a little sketchy, but his Spanish and Korean are excellent.
So I'm on the train from Potosi to La Paz, about 14,000 feet somewhere in the Andes. But there's an avalanche and the tracks are covered with snow. And I'm thinking I probably pushed it a little bit too much. It's been over 10 hours and the conductor has no idea when the train's going to start to move again. But no one seems to be anxious. This is just the thing in Bolivia. But I'm worried I'm going to miss Jill in La Paz. So after about 20 hours, out of nowhere, a snowplow appears. The tracks are cleared, the train moves on, and we continue our journey to La Paz. So I get there at night. I arrive at our hotel, and the note says she was leaving in the morning and to meet at the Mango restaurant. So I grab a taxi. ¿Conoces el restaurante Mango? Claro que sí, of course, says the driver. I get in, we drive for about 30 minutes, and he drops me off in the middle of nowhere. This guy has no idea where the Mango restaurant is. So I stop and ask another taxi. He's never heard of the Mango restaurant. So a third taxi I hail, and I'm getting a little bit desperate. He says, Señora, no conozco este, restaurante Mango, but I do know the Mongo Bar. And I'm like, sure, let's try it. It's close enough. I'm running out of options. So we go to the Mongo Bar. I walk up to the bar, open the door, and walk in, and I see Jill. And she sees me, and it was like there was no one else in the bar.
I see David, and it was like there was no one else in the bar.
The beginning.